Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Missing Frames. This is the podcast where we watch all the movies we should have seen by this point in our lives. I'm your host, Shawn Eastridge. We're hanging out on the Nerd Party Network, a collection of podcasts dedicated to all things entertainment. Check it out at thenerdparty.com. You can follow us on Twitter at JoinNerdParty and follow the Instagram. It's just the Nerd Party. We're also on Facebook. Like that page too. And I'm delighted beyond all reason. This is the second episode in a row you've been on.
I know.
I mean, there was a break between the two. There was a Between Takes episode, but technically we've done two Missing Frames episodes in a row. My wife, Sarah, is here. Welcome back, Sarah.
Thanks.
How does it feel? I mean, I don't think this has ever happened in the history of Missing Frames.
Probably will never happen again.
Probably will never happen again, but that's okay. Let's enjoy it. Let's bask in the moment. And this is, speaking of things that will never happen again, this is a little bit off the beaten track for us. This is not your typical Missing Frames episode. Like I said, we watch all the movies we should have seen by this point in our lives. And if you've already seen the title for this episode, you know that this is not a film. We are going to be discussing the Star Trek The Next Generation finale, All Good Things. And we're cheating a little bit because you know what? Star Trek's wonderful.
I think it's okay to
If I'm gonna
cheat here.
Yeah, if I'm going to cheat on anything, or
On
I'm
the
going to cheat
podcast.
with anything, if I'm going to cheat on the podcast with anything, it'll be Star Trek.
TNG.
Yeah. We realized we've been speeding through The Next Generation, and we
Yeah.
were trying to figure out what to do for our next episode of Missing Frames, and we're on the finale now.
And technically, it's like a two-part
Well, it is.
movie
You
format.
can count this as a movie. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. I think this is probably a better movie than the Next Generation movies. No offense to those, but I don't think, with the exception of maybe First Contact, and I like Generations. Insurrection and Nemesis I haven't seen too recently. I remember not liking either of them. But I think as far as like, it's almost a shame that they kept making stories because this episode so kind of perfectly serves as a send-off for them. And Nemesis, which was the cinematic send-off for them, is depressing, to say the least. But yeah, I don't know. We don't have to make excuses to you. We're doing it. It's a television finale, one of the greatest television shows of all time. I love Next Generation, and I think you do as well.
I do.
And I guess you want to talk a little bit about how we got into Star Trek. I've explained this before. There's another Star Trek episode. We did one for the motion picture. I did it with T.C. Paget and Leah Hale, and we had such a great time talking about that. Leah's a huge Star Trek fan, and I think I told this story on there. But growing up, I mean, Next Generation was my Star Trek. I didn't know about Captain Kirk. The irony is that when Next Generation came out, everyone was like, how could they do something without Captain Kirk? But for me, I was more shocked to learn there was a Star Trek before Picard and Data and Worf. And I grew up with this on television. You know, it started in 1987. I was born in 1986. So to me, this was the only Star Trek. And this was back when Star Trek was still must-see television because it hadn't become the big franchise that it is now. And the only other series had been the original series. The movies were relatively popular. But like my mom and my dad watched Next Generation. They don't really watch sci-fi programming, but this was like must-see TV. And I just remember it being in the background all the time. Like it was a part of my life. I had action figures growing up that I got for Christmas and watching Next Generation. And when I got older, I always appreciated and loved Star Trek, but I've never been a big TV person, as you know. You are a big TV person.
Yeah.
You've introduced me to a lot of great television, but you've had to deal with my biases against TV because my whole thing is like I can't dedicate hours and hours of my life to a show that I know is eventually like
You just want to go to the movies.
I want to go to a movie because a movie it's like a clean cut story. You get what you need and you don't have to watch hours and hours
and
and
I love
hours.
Character development over years and years and years.
Yeah, but I think my biggest problem is certain television shows that go on for too long.
Yeah.
Once they outstay their welcome, I kind of lose interest. Like when a story reaches a natural organic arc, like, or a story arc reaches its conclusion, a natural conclusion, I'm kind of like, okay, great, I'm done. And then it keeps going, and I'm kind of like, oh God. And then I just get depressed, and it just feels like.
And unfortunately, that's like 70% of TV.
That's a lot of television.
Because
so,
it's money, right? So they just keep going if people watch.
So I have always been movies versus TV. And I love there's television I love. I think television is some of the best stories out there, and I would definitely go to bat for some of my favorite series, but that's always been the case. So when it came to Star Trek, I never really watched any of the shows. Like growing up, once I got older, I was like, I love the movies. Some of the movies, not all of the movies, but I love the movies, and I don't really care about the TV show because I'm just not a TV guy. So I grew up with the perception of Star Trek kind of like, I had lots of friends around me who really loved the show, but I was kind of like, yeah, okay, sure. And this is a strange stance to take on it, seeing as how I am a huge nerd. I am a podcast on the Nerd Party, so I would have to be. But like, I was just kind of like, Star Trek just seems kind of nerdy. It seems really like they just sit in boardrooms and talk a lot, and they have weird costumes, and some of the makeup is ridiculous.
I mean, none of that is wrong.
None of this is wrong.
No.
But it was definitely like I had this perception of like, because it was television and the movies at least had big action and excitement and like big stakes and the world's coming to an end, or there's a big villain who's going to kill everybody, like things like that. I always assumed like the TV show is just a little bit more like talky and boring and slow. And it's definitely more talky than the movies. So I just never got into it. And I kind of like when the J.J. Abrams movie was coming out, I kind of watched the original series a little bit just for fun. And I think the original series is great. But I definitely think it's you have to take it with a grain of salt because some of it is very, very dated. And so I think, I don't remember when, but there was like a sale where all the TNG seasons on Blu-ray went on sale. And as we've discussed many times on this program, I'm an insane person. And when I see a good Blu-ray sale, I lose all like rhyme or reason. I'm like, that seems like I should probably buy these,
like,
even
Shawn,
though.
But do you really like the show? And you're like, it doesn't matter.
It's Star.
Sarah.
I think I like Star Trek, but I'd heard enough from people that it was like, no, Star Trek's amazing. You're gonna like it. You'll love it when you watch it. So I knew I was making a good investment, and it wasn't on Netflix in HD at the time.
This was the only way, and I remember it was priced. It was just insanely priced, but you found like maybe on eBay or like a really good deal.
Like this, I remember when they first started coming out, like season one, it was like $70, $80. And this set on eBay that I got was like $80 for all of them, brand new.
Yeah.
And it was just like, well, that's a no brainer. If one set is like $50, $60, I have to get all of them.
Right.
And so that was really like, finally, I think I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch through. And the consensus I'd heard was like, you have to kind of push through seasons 1 and 2. And once you get past those, it'll be great. And I think this is where that was basically, I watched through the whole series. I agree that seasons 1 and 2 are rough, but it becomes like one of the greatest shows of all time by season 3. But that's what I finished it right when we moved down to Atlanta. And then almost as soon as I'd finished it, you decided you wanted to start it. So that was, do you remember when we first started watching it? I think it was 2018.
Well, initially I would catch we were living in Virginia in our first apartment. This was a long time ago, right? And you would watch it and I'm like, oh, this is kind of whatever. But then you sat me down for a couple episodes.
Yes.
And I had a very emotional reaction.
That's right. So by the time I'd hit season 3, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like it was such a struggle to get through seasons 1 and 2. And there are great episodes. Like I think my favorite Star Trek episode ever is Measure of a Man, which is in season 2.
Yeah.
And that is the first indication, I think, of what
the greatness.
Next generation would achieve. But that said, it's a slog to get through those first 2 seasons.
Right.
They are bad. It's like we joke about it, but like great Star Trek is like the best thing you'll ever see, and bad Star Trek is like some of the worst stuff you'll ever watch. It's just so corny and stupid.
Yeah.
But I'd gotten to season 3. I knew it was great. And I was now like excited. I was like, oh, great. I can't wait to see what episodes are next. And it was yesterday's Enterprise, which I had never seen before. And I remember telling you, I was like, I hear this episode is one of the best, so you should watch it with me. Not realizing what I was about to expose you to. And yesterday's Enterprise is just a masterpiece. It's one of the best episodes of Star Trek.
And what happened when we watched this episode?
You like loved it, but you also like sobbed for
the whole thing.
Almost the whole thing.
And I think
by
an
the
hour
end
after,
you were sobbing.
It like just broke something in me completely.
Oh yeah, I think it was you didn't even know who Tasha Yar was.
I was so invested in her and her story, and I just thought it was one of the most beautiful hours of television I had ever seen. Just never seeing anything else except like little bits. Like I knew who Picard was, like, you know, the pop culture stuff, but it just like it ruined me. And I was just like holding on to you sobbing and you're like, oh God, what did I do? And I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Yeah. It's just like, I can't remember I'm tearing up right now. I'm such a mess. Yeah. Like it just struck me. And I was like, this is the best show that's ever like been televised. It has to be. And you're the first 2 seasons are rough.
I knew it was great, but I didn't realize that episode would be so amazing.
So
I thought it would be one of those things where you would be like, oh, that was good. Thanks for showing me. But it was like,
and I think I got mad at you. I was like, why did you do this to me?
I was like, I wasn't prepared.
I couldn't control myself. And then you showed me another episode.
We watched a couple episodes. So the episode after that, I think, is about Data's daughter.
Yeah.
Like he builds a daughter, and that episode was great and sad.
I think I cried for 6 hours.
And then the episode after that was Worf being excommunicated from the Klingon Empire. And that was all 3 episodes are amazing. And I just remember being like so struck, like, oh my God,
and I'm just like
a streak
weeping
of them
for 6 hours.
But that was, I think, 2014.
So that was my very first introduction. Yeah. Because my parents never watched it. I didn't know much about it other than, if anything, I was more familiar with the original series.
Yeah. Because I think I had those on Blu-ray.
Like
and then,
I had seen more of that. Yeah. And, I was like, oh, it's cute and goofy and campy, Yeah. And I still kind of stand by that, but I appreciate it a lot more going back to that. Yeah. Now seeing TNG. But you were my first introduction to TNG. I mean,
and that was, I think it's a stunning show.
Yeah.
What I tell everybody is what I would tell myself back when I was watching. It's like, you have to get through the first 2 seasons.
Just truck
But like, once you do, you won't regret it. It's one of the greatest television shows of all time.
It's so rewarding. It gives back in such a big way.
Yeah, but it's beyond just like what you expect from like quality sci-fi entertainment. It's like thoughtful and emotional and it's
very cerebral.
It's philosophical, but really, really beautiful, and this really wonderful examination of like people trying to work together for the better good. Yeah. And I think as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate Star Trek more. It's always, oh, do you like Star Wars or Star Trek? And I'm like, can't we just love them all? Aren't they all wonderful? But I think as I've gotten older, when you're young, Star Wars is like, oh, it's whiz bang, everything, lightsabers, explosions. And Star Trek is like, oh yeah, they sit in boardrooms and talk. But there's something now being older that like the concept of like Star Trek being, instead of murdering people or instead of combat, I'm going to try to reason and understand my enemy. Like the idea of communicating and trying to understand other cultures and civilizations,
especially in 2021.
Yeah, especially now. If
you want a safe place to go, watch the show. Yes, because the world's crazy. Right?
Yeah, and it's optimistic to like hope for a future like that. Yeah. But yeah, do you remember when you started? Because we had to power through those first.
So we were in
seasons.
Atlanta.
We were in Atlanta, and it was 2017. Or 2018 when we started season 1, and we watched a few episodes, and then it was like, all right, we're good.
Yeah, I don't think we made it very far. No. I think we quickly were like, want to watch Friday Night Lights again? Okay.
Yeah,
we just kind of went to an Old Faithful.
Yeah.
I think we probably made it like optimistic. halfway through season 1. I don't
Yes.
even know if we made it that far though.
And I don't
I was just, I remember being kind of bored. I was like, I know this is special. I'd seen episodes obviously in the future, which I'm like, these are great episodes. These are great people. But the first season especially was just so dry. And you could tell they were trying to find their footing. They didn't find it.
Yes.
Like they were struggling.
They were
through
also,
it.
their hands were tied by Gene Roddenberry.
Yes.
Because Roddenberry was like,
Yeah.
you have to do these things. There
Yes.
can't be any conflict because it's a future where there is no conflict.
Right.
So the rules that he created for them and the constraints he placed on them really limited their ability to tell good, compelling stories.
Yeah.
And it is
It's evident.
not great.
Yeah.
The cast is great.
Yep.
Patrick Stewart is like just head
He
and
was
shoulder.
there to
No
act.
offense
Like,
to
he
anybody else,
was-
but he is like the material is not on his level in those first couple seasons, but he
Yeah.
brings it every episode. And I'm hard pressed to think of a memorable episode in season 1.
I'd have to look at the
Maybe when
descriptions, to
Tasha
be
Yar
honest.
dies. They're just terrible.
Yeah.
I remember that one. The
Is that
pilot,
with the funeral?
yeah, the pilot's
That was
pretty
a good
good.
one,
I don't remember many other episodes in season 1. I remember there's the naked. What was it? The Naked Now when they're all trying to bang each other, and then there's
I think
there's
I
one
blocked that
plan-
one out.
There's one like awkward episode where it's like it's all black people and it's very very unintentionally racist
Ooh.
and
I don't remember that.
very like awkward, like just weird, tone
Yeah.
deaf, not smart, bad. Like
Yeah.
I feel bad saying it, but like the writing is just very. You can tell they are struggling to find the stories and to get the chemistry, like because Kirk and Spock and McCoy and that crew was so iconic, and they were still making movies at the time with that crew,
Yeah.
and that's what people knew. So you can get the sense of like they felt like, what is this new crew? What is their dynamic? How can we differentiate?
Where's
them?
their place in the
They don't.
universe?
They
of the-
didn't
yeah.
know. And season 2 was an improvement at least.
Yeah.
And then, what were you gonna say?
Well, when does Ronald D. Moore come in?
I don't think till season 3.
Okay, so that's the noticeable shift, and I'm a
Yes.
huge fan of his. So I was really excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is where he started. I didn't know,
Season 2 is not. It's still not great. It's still that awkward.
but it's
like,
getting there.
It's getting there, and then
Yeah.
more importantly, you have a couple of breakthrough episodes. Like Measure of a Man, I think is incredible. Like it is. That's the one where Data.
Yeah.
They're trying to determine whether or
And
not
Riker
Data is
has
a
to,
person, and Riker has to. He's the prosecutor.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah,
And Picard is the his defender.
so good.
And it is. I remember that watching, like, just feeling like that was an oasis in a desert. Like it was just like going through that series for the first time and just like desperately, like, please just give me something. And seeing that episode and being like, oh my god, like if that's what I have to look forward to, then this is. I believe it now. Like I believe this show is capable of greatness.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that episode with you because I knew that was coming, and I was just like, we're almost there. But do you remember watching Measure of a Man for the first time?
Oh yeah,
And
it was great.
It's great.
It's
that
really
one
good.
that one has a great ending too.
Yeah.
And that has the introduction of the Borg. But
Yeah.
once they get to season 3, the sad thing is Roddenberry had started to get sick, so he couldn't be as much of an overseer. So I think it was Michael Piller. He gave the reins to him to be the showrunner. And Michael Piller really he brought in this amazing group of young writers, including Ronald D. Moore,
Yeah.
who would go on to do Battlestar Galactica and Outlander
Yeah.
and all sorts of amazing
Lots of my
television.
favorite
Yeah,
shows.
and that was Star Trek Next Generation was his first thing. But they brought in a new group of writers. And season 3, pretty much from the get-go, is a marked improvement over season 2.
It felt like a soft reboot
Yeah.
of the show.
And it's like it takes its time to find its footing the first couple episodes, but there's an immediate charm to it that's not in seasons 1 and 2. There's like a clarity of vision. There's compelling content, like character development and things that are like, oh, this is more engaging. And I think from that point on, it's pretty smooth sailing. I mean, there are definitely rough episodes in later seasons, but I'd say from season 3 through season 7, it's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, it's consistent. And then what would happen is we'd hit some duds, and instead of being annoyed, we'd kind of just giggle through them.
It was it was the opposite. It's like
Yeah.
the duds be like the great episodes were the exception,
Yes.
and not the rule. And then by
Yeah.
season 3 it switches,
And
where
it
it's
made
like
it
the
much more
the
bearable.
bad episodes were the exception, which made it.
Because then we could just laugh and be like, what is going, what
Yeah, and then we
happened?
could-
What were they smoking
It's like
when
a
they
nice
wrote
little
this one?
reminder of like, oh yeah, this is what the TV show was like when it was really, really bad. But can you remember some of your favorite episodes?
Yesterday's Enterprise is
Yes.
amazing. Measure of a Man, amazing. I have some episodes. You'll have to help me out with the titles.
Okay, I'm probably not going to remember the titles.
Well, there's a recent one in the last few seasons where Picard lives a whole other lifetime.
Yeah, Inner Light.
That was...
Inner Light, I
just-
think many people think that's the best.
I was so moved by that, and I thought that
Yeah.
was really beautiful. There's another one, more recent, I think, where Picard falls in love. And
Yeah,
he
and it's
has
kind
to
of a
send
sequel
her-
to that.
Yeah,
episode.
he has to send her on a mission, and I don't know what it's called. I'm not doing
Yeah,
a very good
I don't remember
job.
what that one's called either.
But
That's in season
anytime where
6.
Picard falls in love. What else?
Best,
I really
Best
like,
of Both Worlds, which is the first big Borg episode. It's
Yeah.
the 2-parter that,
Oh, yeah.
that
Oh
ends
my
with
gosh.
Picard
Yes.
becoming a Borg.
Yeah, and I was never spoiled by that, so I was like, "Holy
Yeah,
crap!"
that's such a great ending. I just
That
like,
is
it's like
ama-
Mr.
and then it
Worf,
ends.
fire, and that's the end. It was
Well,
great.
Whenever I watch stuff and we're binging it, I just think, "Oh my gosh, these poor people had to stop there, and then
Yeah.
they didn't get the second part for like 6 months. That's
Yes.
terrible." And
Yeah.
watching a finale like that is just insane. And some of the more fun episodes I liked when they would, like the Sherlock episodes. I always
Yes.
think are very fun.
That's a good one
and
in season 2 as well, and I
Yeah.
love that they bring that character
he comes
Moriarty
back. Yeah.
And it's I'm struggling to think of them too, because one of the
Yeah.
brilliant things that Next Generation did that I know in Deep Space Nine, which I'm watching through now, the story becomes serialized
Yeah.
instead of episodic. And Next Generation is episodic, which meant pretty much every episode stood alone. So
Yeah.
you got just amazing concepts. Once the
Yeah.
writing crew really hit their stride, you get these amazing episodes, amazing concepts. Some of my favorites, one of the ones I remember as a kid loving, and I still love it to this day, is in season 4. It's called Remember Me, I think, or I think that's the title. It's when Crusher, like everyone's disappearing around her, and she realizes she's gotten stuck
Oh,
inside like
yes.
some sort of wormhole, and she has to escape. I love that episode.
That's a really good one.
there-
Anything with Q is usually
Hugh's
really
usually
fun.
great. Anything with the Borg is great.
Yeah.
Remember Hugh?
Oh my god. Okay, yeah. I gotta put that in with my favorite
Yeah,
episodes. then.
Iborg is the name
Yeah.
of that one.
And anytime I get like a really good Geordie episode, he's one of my favorites.
Geordie's great.
So I
He's
just
such a. Remember, there's also an episode where he like falls in love with a woman, and it like completely ruins his common sense.
yeah.
And
It's
terrible.
like Geordie, you still
Geordie,
in there?
yeah, Geordie is.
But he's one of my favorites.
He's the
so,
best.
yeah.
The best.
It's hard to pick favorites.
It's hard, like, and I think the standout episodes for me are the ones that deal with that emotional, philosophical struggle.
Yeah.
Like I know Wesley Crusher gets a bad rep.
Yeah.
Especially in early seasons, I understand. I love Will Wheaton. Stand By Me is one of my favorite movies.
Well, he wasn't
And
given a ton to do.
He wasn't given a ton to do, and then there was just the awkwardness of him deciding to leave, which I know he really regretted. And then, but when he came back, there were a couple. Like I love the episode where they're all playing the game, that creepy game, and he and Ashley Judd.
Ashley Judd.
is
That's
in
right.
it.
Like she's so young.
Yeah, she's young, and they have to. They're the only ones who are not playing it. And
When he came back, I think we've only seen one episode where we're like, that wasn't that great, but all his episodes I think were really strong.
and then the First Duty, I think it was called, is the one where he goes on trial.
Yes,
And
that was a really great episode.
That's definitely one of my favorites, which I don't know if a lot of people call that one of their favorites, which I think is, I don't know if it's just because Wesley is fun to
But it
beat
was
up
also
on,
it was
but-
a bit of a mystery, which I kind of, because you don't really know what happens or what had happened out during that
right.
whatever training that they were doing when
Yeah.
the cadet died. So you don't really.
And you would never, because by that point, Wesley is pretty much he's a good kid. So you never expect him to do something that,
or cover up something.
to be that awful or like to
Right.
be terrible. I'm looking through the list now because the point is there's so many amazing episodes. And by the time last year when the pandemic started, I think I was just like, let's just go.
We're
Let's
like,
just go.
we're home.
That
Let's
was-
rededicate
That was when we
ourselves.
powered through it.
Yeah.
And that's when we really we got through season 2. We got through, we just went straight through.
And we still had a little gap. I think, of a couple months, but then we picked it up again, and then since then,
Yeah.
we've just
Yeah,
gone
a few
through
months
the whole
ago,
thing.
I would say probably March,
Yeah.
maybe March, April. I don't know what it was, but it was just
Well,
let's get back to it and let's
Yeah.
keep going. And we powered through seasons 5, 6, and 7
Well,
in
I
the past
think
couple months.
we built a house, and as soon as we moved into the house, we're like, what should we watch? And then I guess it was TNG, and then we haven't stopped.
Right.
That's been kind of our nightly show where we watch an episode or two a night.
Yeah.
Great way to wind down. It really is.
And I've loved rewatching it, rediscovering what is so
Yeah.
brilliant about it. And like I said, I love the big exciting episodes, but things like the episode where Picard sees his brother for the first time in years and has that kind of emotional like there's so much. The thing people I don't think realize, and I didn't realize about Star Trek, is how beautifully human it is. Like I always thought of it as like, oh, they're kind of cold and they're all business-like,
They're
which
in
to a certain
space.
extent they're all very, they're working in space, they're professional. But there's like this strong emotional core to it that if I'm going to play the Star Wars versus Star Trek game, Star Trek is more thoughtful and emotionally complex
It's
than
very
Star
tender.
Wars for sure.
Yes.
Like Star Wars is great and it's big and it's exciting and it's got broad emotions, but Star Trek is the thing that's you're going to sit down and you're going to like ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to love someone? Like it's like these very big questions that like I think if you've never watched Star Trek and you're hearing this, you're kind of like, that sounds really goofy, but it does it in a very meaningful way that to me evokes great literature or just great cinema. And Star Trek, because of its reputation, is like, oh, it's the big franchise. It's nerdy and it's people, aliens, and like you kind of, and some of the episodes do justify that reaction.
Sure,
but
yeah.
most of the television show, I'd say 80% of it is genuinely affecting, emotional, and top-notch storytelling.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest shows of all time. And now we're at the end.
I know.
We've reached the end. How are you feeling?
I don't know. It's interesting because we've reached the end, but I also know we have like 5 movies.
We have 4 movies.
4 movies.
Only 4.
And I also know
we
that
have
they're not all
Picard,
great.
we have Picard. Well,
Yeah.
First Contact, I think, is great. I
Yeah.
do love that one. Although I haven't watched the movies since I went through the series. So it's been about 7 years or so.
And don't worry, folks. Sean got the Blu-ray
I
set
have the
for all the
Blu-ray set,
movies.
Don't worry. But I'd seen the movies. I knew I liked the movies.
Well, I'm really excited. I'm a little sad. That's kind of how I get when it's a show that I really love that has a series finale. I'm like, I get a little nervous. I'm like, how's it gonna end? Because we all have favorite shows that had crappy endings like that. Just finales and
a
pilots
bad
are really tough.
bad ending really
It's
colors
what,
the
it's
rest
what
of the
sticks
series.
in your brain,
Yeah.
right? It's like pilots are much more forgiving because you're like, okay, they're finding their footing. They have to introduce all these characters. Pilots are tough for like even the best of writers, but finales, man, and you have this fan base like Star Trek fans. Like that's a rough crowd. Like how do you please all these people?
Yeah.
You know, like Star Wars, Star Trek, all those big things, Marvel. I mean, so I'm not sure. I hear that it's regarded well, which is great.
Yes.
Like people seem to love it, so I hope I will too. But I'm kind of nervous, and it's a little bittersweet. I'm like, oh, it's done. Now what do we watch?
Yeah,
and I know
let's
we have
just
the
start all
movies,
over.
but I know. And
We have Deep Space Nine. And I'm in season 3 of Deep Space Nine, which again, the first couple seasons are kind of not
It's
great.
kind of like we're repeating history because you're powering through the crappy episodes, and I'm just popping in when they're good. And I'm like, oh, this is an amazing show. And I've already seen a few episodes with you that I thought were fantastic episodes.
Yeah.
So I think I might just
Hop in.
on with and
just to keep it going.
Keep it going because I kind of have a general idea, and now you're hitting the point where
It's starting
like you
to
said,
get
it's getting a
good.
more overarching story as well, where it's not as episodic.
Yeah. So I and I'm looking forward to getting through Deep Space Nine because a lot of people really love that. But you know, it's funny about the finale of Next Generation. My mom taped it. Like that's
Really?
like again,
Wow.
just to talk about the culture. My mom, who is wonderful, but is not into sci-fi. You know, she doesn't care about this stuff, but she loved Star Trek, and she taped the finale. And for the longest time, this is the only episode I had regular access to. So I've probably seen the finale of TNG more times than any other Star Trek episode.
That's so funny.
It's just funny. Like it was a tape she'd made. So I was the most familiar with the finale. yeah, I don't want to say too much about it. Do you want to take any guesses as to what might happen or to what it might be about?
I have no clue. Honestly, I'm just like, how do you wrap this up?
Do you think there are any characters that might make an appearance who aren't necessarily regulars, or like what it might be focused around?
I'm so at a loss. I know. I just like, I really have no idea.
What would be satisfying for you? Like when you say, I want to watch the Next Generation finale, what are you hoping for?
I'm so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love a little more resolution to Picard and Crusher.
That's another great episode.
That's another great episode.
I think that's a season 7 when they are.
Yes, where they like
they can
talk
hear
about
each
their
other's
feelings.
thoughts.
Yeah. And you realize that like they genuinely love each other, but they can't figure out how to make it work, right?
So you want some resolution there.
I would like a little more than what we got, which is basically like, I love you too. Oh,
but we can't be together.
And why? I don't know. Like, I'm like, okay, I would like a little more there. I'm still a little thrown off by just continuing with show romances. I really thought that Riker would end up with Troy. But obviously there's a new romance between Worf and Troy.
Yes.
Which we've
or
seen.
Not, we've like it's not necessarily a romance, but like the start of some sort of
slept together. So
no, that was her imagination.
Oh crap.
Or not her imagination, but it was like in her
yeah, you're right.
hallucination.
But, okay, they've kissed.
But like
that was real.
Yes, I think they have, yeah.
Yeah. But they obviously are starting something, and I don't think we've actually seen Worf tell Riker. There was like an attempt and he felt awkward and it was kind of comedic, and then he walked off, and then we haven't seen anything about it since. So I'm like, are they going to call back? Like, I thought maybe they might do a time jump, but since there's so many movies, I feel like they're not going to. But I don't know.
So you think there might be time stuff involved?
There might be some time stuff. Like, I mean, man, if Tasha Yar shows up again, I will be such a happy camper, but I don't know if she will.
Right.
Or her, what is it? She also plays one of her relatives.
Yeah, it's like a Romulan.
Yeah.
She has a...
So, I mean, honestly, I wish I had a good answer for this because I've been thinking about it, and
you just want conclusions to the romances and time wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff.
Yeah, and I just want. I guess I just want everyone to feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
I just want world peace. But I mean, I hope they don't like kill people off.
Right.
I'd be so sad, but it's a freaking series finale.
Yeah.
So who knows? So I guess I don't want more things than what I want. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just like, it's such a big show. I almost don't want. Let's just forget it. Let's not watch it.
We're not going to watch it. This
Sorry,
is the end
guys.
of the
Goodbye.
episode. Thank you for listening to us talk about how much we love Star Trek. All right. Well, those are good guesses.
Well, I can't ask you because you've seen it.
I've seen it.
As
I've explained, I had a videotape of this taped live off of television that I watched over and over. So.
Well, I have a random story.
Okay.
That I just thought of. Going back to your question about my first introduction to TNG, I actually have to call back further, and you know this story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When we worked together.
Yes, we worked together. That's how we met each other.
Many moons ago. Yep,
yes.
This is how we met. We were friendly. We were not dating at this point. I thought you were a little nerdy.
Yes.
And you thought I was
just a little nerdy.
A little too girly, I guess.
Yeah.
So we had some ideas about each other. We worked on different teams, and we had to email each other a lot. Just checking in on updates on certain, things. And you emailed me and you asked for me to do something work related. I can't remember. And at the end of it, you said, make it so. And I flew off the freaking handle.
Not to me. You told me this later.
I told you this later.
Because you told me when we started dating.
I flew off the handle to like one of my colleagues, 5 of my colleagues. I was like, this guy is such a jerk. Look at this email. And everyone was like, oh my God, he talked to you like that? Like, make it so. I had no idea it was from Star Trek.
Well, you held that against me. And then when we started dating, you were like, why would you say make it so to me? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you like in the emails, you used to just be like, make it so.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, that's Star Trek.
I had no idea.
Yes.
I just thought you were just a jerk.
I'm looking at it because we're recording near our refrigerator, just in case you want to feel like you're a part of our home. There is a Make It So magnet.
Yeah, we have
on
a Make
our
It So
fridge.
mug.
It's become a
We
part
have
of our
a
regular.
relationship story.
Yes,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's a great
But
Star Trek story.
really I cannot believe I even dated you after that. You're
Yeah.
lucky because I
I'm
mean,
shocked.
for like 6 months, I was like, this guy is such a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, I hate him.
Yeah, it all worked out.
And now we're married.
Thanks, Patrick.
We're having a baby
Sir
in a
Patrick.
few days.
Thank you. Yes.
Like, things did okay,
Yeah.
you know? So I guess technically, you still introduced me to TNG, but
Yes,
it was
but
a couple
yeah,
years before
not the
that.
best introduction.
It was like circa 2012.
right, and now here we are at the end.
Yeah.
9
So sorry,
years
I
later.
derailed that, but I had to get that story.
No, that's
in
a
there.
good story. Well, all right. Well, are you ready?
No, but
No,
let's
but
do
we
it.
gotta do it. We gotta. It's all for the fans.
Yep.
It's all for the fans. All right, we will go watch the finale of Star Trek: The Next Generation, and we will be back.
Now available to own on video cassette.
And we're back. Sarah, how do you feel? You finished The Next Generation.
That was so wonderful.
I also want to point out that one thing our audience did miss was about how long sobbing, like just sobbing for maybe 10 or so minutes following the ending. Which, to be fair, I teared up. I tear up every time. It's such a great ending when they all play the card game together.
It's funny because I made it through the whole double episode. I was like, oh, I'm not going to cry. And then, you know.
There's some good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Really good stuff.
All the best Star Trek stuff is character stuff. In this episode, somehow they get everything you want from great TNG. You get like crazy, wacky, big concept of traveling through time. You get the destruction of all humanity, and only Captain Picard can stop it. And you get all the crew. And then what's really cool is just the way they kind of find a way to answer all your questions using the jumping through time angle. Like you get to find out what happened with Riker and Worf and Troy, like what happened with Crusher and Picard. Did anything happen? And what happens to all the other players? You get to see Data kind of taking on a little bit more humanity. I don't know if you noticed, but in the future, he's a bit more loose and he's displaying some level of emotions.
Well, and he has a home, you know, like he has a
he's
home
found
with
a place.
100 cats. Like,
Yes,
he's
he has
so happy.
so many cats. He's in Sir Isaac Newton's old home on Cambridge, so everything is good to go. But that's what I remember being so struck by, even as a kid. Just like this episode has everything. Like it acknowledges the past. You get Denise Crosby is back as Tasha Yar, so you get some really sweet moments there. You get Chief O'Brien back, and in the past you get those old uniforms with the lions on the shoulders. I feel like
the first 90 seconds, I was like, "Oh my god, I called it! I got all what I wanted." That was so funny.
I'd seen it a few years ago, even though I've watched this episode so many times as a kid. I'd forgotten that they pay off all the romance stuff.
They do, and
like,
they did
all the
it
stuff
in a
that you
great
mentioned.
way.
I realized I was like, oh yeah, they do. Even the Troy and Worf stuff, which for some reason I remembered that kind of being more ambiguous, but it was pretty concretely stated in this episode, like what happens, and then what she dies in the future, and that causes a rift between Worf and Riker. But this is I didn't want to say too much in the first part, even though we've had this conversation many times as we've watched Star Trek. I think this is one of the best series finales out there.
I agree.
Like unquestionably, it's so satisfying on every level. It's shocking to me. So it was written by I think it was Ronald D. Moore and Brandon Braga, or is it Brandon? Brannon Braga. They co-wrote it, and what's shocking to me is they were also co-writing Generations, the film, at the same time. That part of the reason people feel that I don't think season 7 takes a dip in quality. Like some people are like, oh, season 7 is a huge dip. I don't think so. I think there are definitely some episodes towards the end that are kind of mediocre, but for the most part, there are also some of the best episodes, like Lower Decks.
Yes.
With
that was really good.
It was a great episode, and then some of the others we referenced. But especially this finale, what's nice is like this, regardless of all the other stuff, like they nailed the finale. Like it's like even if like some of the other episodes in this season weren't as great, I think As long as the finale is great, then it's
I still
fine.
think overall it was a great season. There were definitely a little more like duds or whatever, but we didn't get like 10 in a row. So it never really felt like you always bounce back when you had kind of a slower episode or something.
And you want it to keep going, but then you realize each season was 26 episodes, and you definitely get the sense of season 7 that they were stretching themselves. I watched a documentary where they joke about like, oh, everyone has a family member now. Every family member has to show up in an episode. So I get that, but it's insane to me that they were writing the movie, which I think the movie. Yeah. We'll watch it eventually. I don't know if we'll do a missing frames on it. Sorry, everybody. But like when we watch it, I think you'll see the movie suffers versus this, and I'm glad. I prefer that this is great and that first movie is like fine.
If I'm going to choose a scenario, it's the one that we have.
I agree.
Like I want that nice little bow on all these seasons, not just a film. So
another thing that's really cool is something they discussed when they were coming up with ideas for the finale is Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-5 was brought up a lot, which is, Billy Pilgrim has come unstuck in time. The idea of jumping through different timelines, which I didn't realize. Slaughterhouse-5 is one of my favorite books, but I watched that documentary in the writer's room with all the writers, including Brandon Braga and Ronald D. Moore, but they mentioned Slaughterhouse-5 was a big influence on the finale, which is a really cool little tidbit. But no, I love it so much because it gives me everything I love about Star Trek. There's like the Inner Light is an episode I love, but it's because it's so focused on like, oh, it's very it's a domesticated episode. Like it's Picard living out another life while the Enterprise crew tries to figure out what's wrong with him in real life. But it's like there aren't any like, isn't a lot of space stuff. There isn't a lot of like crazy excitement. So it's a great episode, but like for me, the reason this episode works so well is because you're getting the excitement, you're getting the crew playing off each other, which I think is so crucial to Star Trek. That's another thing missing from Inner Light is Picard is separated from everybody living his own story. Here, even though Picard is the focal point, you're getting so many great character beats between him and the crew members. So you have him in the past and interacting with everybody and them being very confused by his seemingly erratic behavior. You have him with the crew as we know and love them. Mm-hmm. And then you have him in the future where you get really awesome, really brilliantly done teases of like, where have they gone? Like, what are they doing? What are the relationships like in the future? Like, did they last? Who did Picard marry? Oh, he and Crusher got married and then they got divorced or not even divorced, separated because she's kept his name. So things like that. But it's such a brilliant, like everything you want from a great Star Trek episode, but also like what all great finales should do, like giving you all the things you love encapsulated in one moment. Like it's really well done, but it's also it's clean, it's straightforward, it's not like convoluted, and it keeps like its heart is firmly at the center of everything. But what are the things that surprised you? Like what are the things you didn't expect to see?
I didn't expect to see Q, but I was really pleasantly surprised that we got another Q episode, because I think in the first part I was even like, I love the Q episode. So it's so funny, all the things that I was like, oh,
and the first they're directly referencing the first episode.
Yeah, so I feel like they nailed the full circle thing. You know, where it's like they're calling all the way back to season 1, episode 1.
Again, it's
Crazy.
So brilliant.
It's so brilliant.
All right, so you didn't expect Q in there. Q makes an appearance. What else did you not expect, or what other things was there anything you were hoping would happen that didn't happen?
No, I mean, because I really wanted like the romance stuff to kind of be addressed. I wanted Tasha Yar, she appeared. Like all the things that I really wanted, I felt like I got, even though I didn't really know what I wanted, if that makes sense. I mean, you could just shut her in there, see what happens, but then she might freak out.
No. That's probably what's going to happen. I don't know what to do. It's not... I mean, you can hear it, but it might not be noticeable unless you're paying attention. Let's just record.
Okay.
All that stuff. It would have been nice to get... I don't know how you do it, but getting Wesley back would have been nice, like getting Will Wheaton in there.
Yeah.
The problem is you can't have him in the... So they pick up Dr. Crusher and Wesley when they go to Farpoint to get Riker.
Yeah.
So I love that they have the beardless Riker cameo
know.
using footage from the first season.
I was wondering how they were going to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
I couldn't remember if he
aged.
shaved, but I think he's also Jonathan Frakes definitely gained some weight since the first season. So I think maybe it just wouldn't have worked.
He was
and maybe
much tanner
maybe Frakes is like,
as well.
I'm not shaving my beard, never ever again.
And I've always like thought he didn't have a beard because my only
your initial reaction to you were like, oh, he looks so weird with a beard.
I
after
know,
watching
and
the first season, which is like the literal opposite of what everyone on the
everyone
planet
else, yeah.
thinks. So
Oh, I will say something that didn't happen that I think I knew, but I would have loved to see Whoopi Goldberg Guinan back.
That's true.
But I know
yeah.
her career was like just crazy and good for her.
And not to spoil anything, but
Yeah.
she does make an appearance in
good.
the movies.
That makes me happy because she was one of my favorite characters, and I was really bummed that
She's great.
she just disappeared the last.
She's
two
the only one who
seasons.
doesn't really get a What's crazy about the last season is they kind of resolve, like, for instance, Wesley's story when they set it up as like, oh, the Traveler and
Yes.
Wesley's special,
Yeah.
which they never resolved because they were like, this is stupid.
They didn't care.
But then they gave him like kind of a throwaway episode in season 7. That's
Yes.
like, it's not a great episode, but it's nice that they were like, oh, let's resolve this. Same with like Alexander, Worf's son, gets a little
Yeah,
episode. And
yep.
I feel like there are a couple others that are, or Ensign Rowe gets a conclusive
Troy's
episode.
mom.
Troy's mom.
Yeah.
Like everybody, they give a lot of conclusions. So
Right.
it is unfortunate, and I'm sure it was just like scheduling difficulties.
She was such a big star. Like,
Yeah, by this point,
I
she'd done
guarantee-
Sister Act and, like, things-
Sister Act 2 maybe
yeah.
was happening. I mean,
Yeah, so
that happened pretty fast.
I think so. So it's just it would have been nice to get her, but it's nice that they got her back for the movie. Honestly, maybe this is another tangent, but I'm kind of bummed about the decision to end the series to move into the movies.
Me too.
I think it was I guess it was 7 seasons with 26 episodes, like 26 hours of television is a lot. And you could tell in season 7 they were starting to burn out. So maybe it's best that this is what they did. But there is a part of me that is kind of like
4 movies is also that's a lot of movies.
yeah, and
I mean,
that was the justification, I think. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we need to cancel it because ratings are down or like the quality of the show has dropped significantly.
Yeah.
The justification was they need to be in movies now. That's where the money is, and that's what kind of bums me out. It's like, could they have brought in like, I don't know. 7 seasons is a lot of seasons. And typically once you hit this point, that's when you start to show diminishing returns.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it was for the best. I guess the disappointment isn't that the movies, it wasn't like, great, now the movies are even better. It was like, oh, the movies are fine, but they were never as great as the best episodes the series had to offer.
well, it's nice that, and I haven't seen the films, but it's nice that you could obviously end this here and never watch a single movie and be satisfied.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. I'm glad they weren't like, oh, we're doing movies so we can like cliffhang or not resolve certain things and deal with it later.
Yes,
I'm really glad they end capped this. I think it was a really smart decision, especially knowing that the movies are hit or miss, right?
Yes.
So I'm grateful for that. So we'll go into the movies at some point, and I feel like it'll be okay because I have this show, right? Like,
agreed. And I think it helps ease the pain of Nemesis, which is another grand finale. And I don't remember it being good. I know some people flat out hate that movie. I haven't seen it since 2002, I think.
Is that the one Jonathan Frakes
No,
directed?
Jonathan Frakes
one, though,
directed
right?
First Contact and
Okay.
Insurrection. And First
Okay.
Contact is great. Insurrection, not so much.
Okay.
But there is a great book by Michael Piller, who was the head writer, the showrunner, essentially, for this and Deep Space Nine for a few seasons. And there's a great book about the writing process and his process writing Star Trek Insurrection. It's fascinating insight, and he just seems like a really cool dude. That's neither here nor there. But what were some of your favorite moments from the finale?
Oh gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. Like, I mean, obviously, I hate to start at the end, but I mean, the poker.
Yeah, the poker game is
table, and then
really
Picard
wonderful.
comes, and then Troy's like, "You were always welcome," and that's when my waterworks
I know.
started. I was like, "Oh no, I can't do this," and then it pans out. So to start there, that's the best moment I think of the whole show, which is great. It's the last frame. Like, how cool is that? I don't know. You go and let me think. Because I'm still in overwhelmed mode where I'm just so emotional and like just.
I just love. I love every single thing about it. Like
Yeah.
I love the jumping through time. I love when he starts to get a handle and starts giving orders based on information he's learned from each timeline. And I love when the crew stops bicker, because especially in the future they're all like, he's old and crazy.
Yes.
And when they stop that and they start
they
working
listening to
together,
him.
it's like, yay, the crew's all back. Like when Worf joins up with them.
Yeah.
I do love the moment. They imply there was a falling out between Riker and Worf because of Troy that was never resolved. So I really love the moment when they kind of acknowledge that, and then as they're heading to the bridge, he says, "We could use your help. We could use your help, Worf."
Yep.
And then at the end, they have that really brief, like, so things that happen, like when he's like, "I wonder why he told us about what happens in the future. Maybe so that things that happen won't happen." And Worf says, "Agreed." Like very
and they share that look.
simple
like,
stuff, but like the subtext
of
of it is so perfect and it's so wonderfully played by the actors. So I love all the time stuff. Like I just love all
it was handled so
the concept is just a brilliant concept and a great way to kind of pay tribute to the whole show, while also giving us a glimpse into like, well, where do they go from here? We don't have to ask because we know now, because of shows like Picard, we know even more. I don't know. I know people are kind of mixed on that show, so I don't know if that's something we want to know. But that's what I love. I mean, every single character moment, all those little beats, whenever they're all getting together. I love Data's cats, that he has all the cats in his house. It's a finale that there's not a single thing wrong with it for me. Like it all works.
I liked the speech he gave to the crew.
Yes.
In the past when he was.
That gets me a bit choked up too.
Yeah, that got me. That punched me in the gut a little. I was like, oh, that was good. That was definitely a favorite moment. But I
also love Q has always been pesky, and he like loves Picard, but he's never like it's always been from a place of like annoying little brother.
What did Data call him? His pet? Or
It's like a master, a relationship like a master between between a master and a pet. But I love that you kind of realize that Q was put, like, basically the Q continuum that he's a part of. They wanted to cause this issue, and Q individually gives Picard the tools he needs to save the universe. So I love the payoff for Q, where it's like, oh, Q, you helped me. And you realize Q does love these guys. He does care about Picard. And I love the moment where he says, you're like something about like unlocking the secrets in the universe. And Picard's like, what is there left to know? And he leans close to whisper, and he's just like, you'll have to find out. That's a great moment.
Yeah.
Those are,
it's
an episode full of great moments, honestly.
I love that part. I wrote it down when he said that Picard's purpose is to chart the unknown possibilities of existence. I was like, oh, that's good.
Yeah. Well, that's what Star Trek has always been about. But I mean, it's about possibility, but more importantly to me, when I realized what really makes Star Trek special, like explosions and excitement, that's fun. But what makes Star Trek special is this group of people overcoming differences to work together to achieve a greater good. Yeah. That's what Star Trek has always been about, and it's demonstrated in this episode. We see them put aside petty differences to work together to save the universe. But it's about just these friendships, this family, and seeing them all work together and seeing their love for each other, and that's great. It's it's heartbreaking that it's over, but it's such a wonderful. It's just a wonderful tribute to this. I know a lot of people really love Deep Space Nine. Some people say that's the best Star Trek, but it's very hard. I'm just getting into the good stuff with Deep Space Nine, so maybe I'll change my mind. It's very hard for me to like think that this could be topped. This feels too perfect. Yeah. And I think Deep Space Nine gets more complex and darker, but there's a part of me that, like, for the same reasons I love, like, Superman versus Batman, like, just the pureness of this, the desire to do good and to do the right thing. I think that's, like, it appeals to me so much, like, seeing people fight to do what's right. But what other things? What other standout moments? What other?
I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
I'm just like I just feel so emotional right now. I'm like
know.
I'm
It's a
just
lot.
basking in the feelings. It's just so good. I really loved Crusher. Future
Yeah, I love
Crusher.
that she's a captain.
I love that she's a captain.
also a
she's
Captain
total
Picard.
badass. Yeah. Oh, that moment where they say Captain Picard and they both look
Yeah.
up. I thought that was very clever. Jordy's wonderful.
Yeah, you get
he's
to
my
see
boy.
him,
I love
his
him.
pretty blue eyes.
He finally got married and had some kids, although who knows
Yeah,
like if
whatever.
that's what's going to happen, but
I'm so curious. It's going to be very interesting to watch the movies with you and see how they work now that I
yeah.
am such a fan of the series, because I think before I watched Next Generation, like I said in the pre-show, I was kind of like, oh, the movies are the way to go. I don't really like TV. It's never as good as the movies. But Star Trek has proved me wrong. Like I would have sung the praises of the movies, and I still do. But I think Star Trek works better as a series. I think it's designed to do that because you're talking about building relationships over a course of years and all these different ideas that, like in film, you can only do one concept like every few years. But with Star Trek on television, it's like every year you get 26 different concepts, and some aren't great, but most of them are amazing. I'm curious to go back and watch the movies and see if maybe, like, I love First Contact, but I wonder in light of like loving the series so much now, if it'll be like, oh, but it's just not as good. There are lots of people who are like very not against the movies, but are kind of like, yeah, but it's not the TV show. And I wonder if I can still appreciate them as like kind of standalone movies versus the series.
Well, that and the TV show Picard. Now I'm really curious.
I'm curious too,
and
because
I've been able to kind of steer clear. Like I've been trying to because we've been watching TNG. I'm like, I don't really want to know the future stuff. I mean, I know a little from trailer, but and then some, of course, some cast spoiler, like people that join the cast or you know, which is fine, but I don't really know much, so I'm really curious. And to be honest, I never had a huge desire to watch Picard.
No, I remember when we were talking, like when it first aired, because I had seen Next Generation by that point, and you're like, oh, should we watch it? And I was just like, frankly, there's no way it's better than Next Generation, and I'd rather you just watch that.
At the end of the day, I wanted to finish TNG before I watched Picard because it's going to influence, like, you'll know what happens, right?
Yeah.
For the most
and
part.
I think it
and
spoils certain things from other series too. Which
so
is fine with me.
I'm kind of fine with staying in like this 80s, 90s TV bubble for a while.
Yeah.
And then
we can just go all the way back to the
We'll
original
just keep
series
going.
and start over and just start from there.
Well, we have plenty of content
Yes.
there's like 4 franchises, right?
There's
Enterprise, Voyager, TNG, original,
Deep
Space
and then
Nine.
Deep Space Nine,
So
which
5.
we're watching now.
Am I missing something?
And then Discovery
Discovery,
is going
Picard.
right now, and Picard.
Lower Decks. Isn't
Lower
there an
Decks,
animated one?
I just feel like it's so hard because
That's 8.
this is
so
the
much.
argument I posit about television in general. I think you can posit to like how many different series of Star Trek there are.
Yeah.
I am sure, and based on what I've heard from other people, there's the quality just can't maintain itself. You've told the stories you can tell in that universe.
Yeah.
And I really loved the J.J. Abrams movie, the first one, not Into Darkness so much, but I thought Star Trek Beyond was really fun and heartfelt. And so I think the movies are great and they feel like a good place for Star Trek right now, but like I would like to watch Star Trek Discovery. I just don't know that it's much good. And I'm happy to be watching through Deep Space Nine right now because that seems to be consensus on that seems to be pretty strongly in its favor. Like it's a pretty great show. And I've seen at least a couple episodes that are like, okay, hopefully this will
I hear
keep up.
Discovery finds its footing in its second season, which sounds familiar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just not in a rush. I guess it's just another thing to subscribe to.
I know.
And we have so many streaming services and CBS All Access or Paramount, whatever it is now.
It's really
not,
nice to go back. Like Star Trek Next Generation in particular, this was a time where there wasn't much competition and It
The
was
simpler
just like,
times of
it
TV.
wasn't about maintaining a franchise. It was just about great storytelling.
Yeah.
And so at a certain point, something like, we haven't seen Star Trek Discovery. This episode isn't about Star Trek Discovery, but I feel like it's a show kind of like designed to be like, all right, well, we have a franchise and we need people to subscribe to CBS All Access or Paramount Plus or whatever the hell it is now. And it's not like, Next Generation. They had some freedom after, season 2 to tell some great stories and to really delve into interesting ideas. And once you explore those ideas, it's like, how many more times can you explore them?
Right. And it's impressive, even with the episodes that were kind of more misses than hits. With TNG, it's impressive how many individual storylines they were able to come up with.
Well, what's shocking to
It's
me
crazy.
when we talk about like, oh, there are some bad episodes for sure, but like I would say maybe 4 or 5 out of 26 episodes
That's a lot.
range from mediocre to bad. Once you hit season 3.
Well, considering most stuff is now like anywhere from 8 to 13 episodes,
you get,
right?
if you're lucky if you get a good 8 episode season.
Yeah.
Like, and every episode is great. So the
Right.
fact that like
They
I
were
think
hitting like
pretty much
75%.
season 3 through 7,
Yeah.
I would say 75 to 80% of the episodes are fantastic.
Yeah, they had a great team of writers.
Who have all gone
For sure.
on to do other great
Well, it's
things.
funny because all the time travel stuff, obviously Outlander is time
Yeah.
travel, and like you see seats, and I mean there's source material
Yes.
there, obviously from the books, but he's just, I could fangirl over him any day. Like I think he's wonderful,
Yeah.
and I've pretty much liked everything he's done. So it's so cool that I was such a big fan of him, but I had no idea that he started on TNG and.
Mm-hmm.
You see all these seeds, and it's like such a powerful writer at a young age too.
Yeah.
I mean, just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I really can't think of anything that disappoints me about the, I think this is a
No.
pretty perfect.
The only things that I was saying is like, oh, I wish Guinan showed up, but these aren't like,
Yeah.
like
They don't
it's
break
just
anything.
Like, it's just Sarah being a fan of that character. It's not like she needed to.
Yeah.
I feel like they fulfilled everything I wanted, even the stuff I didn't know I wanted. I
Yeah.
got, and it was great.
So this is interesting. I was reading through to see kind of like some production notes, and apparently they thought that somebody else would write the finale, so they were kind of like shocked when they were told to write the finale in addition to Generations.
Yeah.
It says it took them a month to write. They often confused aspects of the two. They knew that they wanted Q to feature prominently in the episode to bookend with the pilot. Apparently, Locutus of Borg was supposed to be back, but they were going to have another timeline with Locutus, but Michael Pillar, the showrunner, was like, "That's one too many timelines. Let's just keep it.
I
the
feel like
fewer
they
the
made
better."
a good choice to not include that.
Yeah. There's also a segment where the crew had to steal the Enterprise from a Starfleet museum, which is similar to Star Trek 3. There's a scene where they have to steal the Enterprise, or a sequence. And then the final scene when they all play poker together, that was the last thing they shot. So I'm sure there were many emotions, which you can see. But also because they were going into the movies, I'm sure there was a sense of excitement.
See you
too.
later.
Like, yeah, we're
Yeah.
going up. But
Did they go straight into the films?
yeah, so the finale aired May 23rd, 1994, and Generations, I'm pretty sure, was released that year. Let me double
These
check.
were all theatrical, right?
Yes,
Okay.
they were all theatrically released. Theatrically November. So
Wow. So they were
was that?
filming. They went right into filming.
6
then.
months, half a year.
They must have.
Yeah, I think they went
Like
yeah,
straight
wow.
into it. So did they use the same
How-
sets and stuff?
How
or-
does that work?
That's
yeah,
a
so
fast turnaround.
production.
I wonder if they were filming both at the same time. They could have had overlap. That would get confusing.
Filming commenced on March 28th, 1994. So they'd probably they'd wrapped the show by that point. So
Probably several months before it aired.
they started filming this a couple months before season 7 ended.
so they didn't have
Yeah,
a break.
they
kinda
basically
went right
felt like
into
they
it.
were going right into another series, essentially. But then there were a couple years between Generations and First Contact, and I'm excited to watch the movies again, but I'm very
Me
curious
too.
to see what you think.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Except I know which ones are like, regarded as good and which ones are not as good.
I'm really excited to watch. I'm really excited to watch Generations and First Contact. I remember loving Generations as a kid, and I don't think it's good, but I don't think it's like, some people hate that movie, and I don't think it's terrible. I just think it makes some bad decisions. Like,
Did you see any in theaters?
I saw Generations in theaters.
Oh, cool.
And I saw Nemesis in theaters. I saw the first one and the last one in theaters. And I didn't see First Contact or Insurrection in theaters. But First Contact, I think, is unquestionably the best. It just has the best moments. It features the Borg. Like, it's exciting stuff.
Love Borg
it'll be
stuff.
fun to go through those. What else? Is that it?
I just loved it.
I'm so glad. How do we rank the series overall?
I think I gotta give it a 5.
Yeah.
Or like a top, whatever.
I would I mean, the series overall a 5, and then this.
Like,
what's
I
our,
could give different ratings to individual seasons,
Yes,
but
for sure.
overall,
I would say the overall series is a
really
5.
strong.
If you're ranking, or not ranking,
Sure.
but rating each
Yeah.
season, it's different. But
Yeah.
overall, it's definitely. I think
feel
it's one of
so
the best television
fulfilled.
shows ever.
And I can't wait to. I mean, this is my first time going through it. I can tell it's not going to be my last.
Yeah.
I can't wait to kind of go through life and watch it at different stages of my life.
We'll
'cause
be able
it's
to
very
introduce this to our son.
I know.
Which will be great.
Ugh, he's going to be like, this is stupid.
Mom and Dad are so nerdy. Why do they watch this stuff?
He's probably not going to appreciate it for a minute.
Oh, we rated the series before we rated the episode.
Oh, yeah.
But
Well,
how
the
many?
episode is-
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
5. I gotta come up with my
billion
rating. I gotta come up with a rating
Okay, I'm
system.
sorry.
I was gonna say Data. How many of Data's cats would you give it?
Aw.
I think it's 5 Data's cats.
5 spots.
5 time. What was it?
Spots.
Warp bubbles. 5. All of the 5s. It's great.
I'm going to give it 5 spots.
5 spots.
Yeah.
Spot does return for Generations.
Shut up.
Yes.
Thank
There's some
God.
good stuff in the movies. And again, now being more familiar with the series,
Yeah.
I'm sure there are things I'm going to pick up in the movies that I never would have thought of.
It sounds like
Just watching them in isolation.
they call back to stuff
They
a lot,
do.
which
They
is really
reference
cool.
things. I've read about cameos that I never would have known about that now I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see that happen.
That's awesome.
But that's it. So that's Star Trek: The Next Generation.
That was awesome.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
I know.
I expected you to. It's just it's so good. It's a perfect finale.
I feel like we started this journey in
It's
2000.
been 4 years.
Yeah.
20.
Well, when
three,
did I watch?
3 years.
When did I watch the like Yesterday's Enterprise and stuff?
Well, you watched that in 2015 or
Okay.
2016, I want to say.
So
2016 maybe.
It's been like a 6-year journey.
It's been a
for
long
me.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost, so originally there were
It's crazy.
5-year missions for
So I've
Star Trek, and now
completed my
I don't
5-year
know if that's
mission.
the case anymore. But yeah,
That
so.
was really good. I'm really looking forward to when I rewatch it, seeing how I feel about seasons 1 and 2 again. I'm
Yeah,
sure I'll still kind of roll my eyes or whatever.
They're
but,
bad. I'm not going to defend them, but I think
But now that you know where they end up,
yes,
sometimes
you have more fun, and it's more interesting to
Yeah.
see.
you give more grace to these
Yes.
characters. I think sometimes So
I completely agree.
it'll be fun to rewatch in a couple years or
Yeah.
something.
Well, thank you for going on this wonderful
Thanks
journey
for
through the cosmos with
introducing-
me. And thank you, everybody, for listening. If you would like to chat further about Star Trek, as I'm sure you do, you can find me on Twitter at YayShondorMan. You can also find me on Letterboxd, just Shondorman there. And thank you again for listening. And we will see you at the movies and on TV sometimes.